Very welcome, everybody. Hello, good afternoon. I am Somaye, one of the ITLF exec committee members, and your host today. I'm very excited and happy that so many people are interested in learning about the webinar we have proposed. It's an interesting one because there is a lot of different content out there at the moment. We are overloaded by content about AI and generative AI specifically. So it's hard to find content that is a bit different and it's a bit engaging and goes beyond what you would have heard in the news or on the surface. We were discussing in the ITLF exec, and by the way, if you don't know, if you are not a member of IT Leaders Forum, that is what it is a stand for. It's a specialist group of British Computer Society, BCS, and it's dedicated to create a space for current leaders in the IT industry, but also those who are aspire to be leaders. So it's not just for senior people, it's for anybody who feels we need a stronger leadership in the IT space. And we focus on all sorts of issues and challenges that exist in this space. We have done, and Jill is on the call, we have done a lot of work around resilience, and you would have heard about post office scandals and others. And the fact that we are so reliant on the IT systems, but we don't really scale the IT industry into what is resilience and how to make the systems more resilient. So we've done a lot of work on that and other areas. This one was an interesting one because we felt that we need to get deeper into the AI conversation in our space, in our leadership space, and share more insights, share more knowledge, share more mistakes we have made and the challenges we have had, and then learn from each other. So this is one of the first steps that we decided to take. We have invited Matt, CTO of Geeks, which I have to declare I am a co-founder of. And the reason we have asked Matt to come in is because of the knowledge I had on what Geeks is doing in this space. And I thought that would be a really good exercise to share that knowledge and experience and case studies within this space so we can have a hopefully really good conversation. There are some polls in the poll section that he will ask you to engage with, but also me and Lindsay, CEO of Geeks, is on the call as well. We will be monitoring the chat section, so if there is any questions or any comments, anything, just make sure you use the chat section as well, so we can create a safer space for everybody to express themselves. And then if we can bring in those within the presentation, if we can ask Matt to comment on them, we will. If not, we will leave it to the end and then make sure we can capture as much as them at the end, time permitting. So without further ado, I ask Matt to start his presentation and share his knowledge and experience of what he's doing in this space.
Thanks a lot, Somaya. Hi, everyone. My name is Matt. I'm the CTO and the Executive Director at Geeks. And today I'm excited to be here to share some information about what AI agents are and how you can utilize them in your business. And hopefully you can learn a thing or two in this presentation. And if you have got any questions, please feel free to add them to the chat so we can, and I'll try to answer your question. Shall I start, Somaya, or should we wait a couple of minutes?
No, I think we can start. I think it's safe to start.
Perfect. So this presentation, as you can see, is about conscious AI agents. I'm sure that everybody has heard of AI agents and what they are very briefly, and we have added the conscious part to make them even more useful, and I will explain what we mean by conscious. Quick introduction about us. We are Geeks. We were founded in 2007, as I mentioned. We have been around for around 18 years, and we evolved in this field as the field itself. And recently, we are more focused on AI and helping our clients with adapting AI to their business and embedding AI and AI solutions into their business. We run multiple webinars about mainly focused on AI, about different topics related to AI. In case you have missed our previous webinars, this is the QR code for AI opportunities and how to uncover AI opportunities into your business. Lindsay, our CEO, ran the webinar. I don't know if you, Lindsay, want to say a couple of sentences about your webinar.
Well, really just quickly, this is more, the topic of AI is so broad and there's so many different angles that are important to it. So this one is where to start and how to uncover meaningful, for example, AI agents. Because there's so many topics, if there's others that you feel like you're not quite at the AI agent space, we wanted to say there's other resources out there for you. So we don't need to go through them all, but here's just a few in case you're interested or you're in the stage where you're like, okay, how can I uncover these? How do I even know where to go with AI agents? So here's an example of that.
Thanks. And another one that our head of product design, Lauren, ran, which was about AI adoption and how you building an AI solution is just one step in the adoption process. How do you embed that into your organization? What do you do with your people in terms of culture, their collaboration, and anything related to that was covered in that episode. If you're interested, you can scan the QR code and take a look. About what we do, throughout the years, we have worked with a lot of companies, two of which are the closest ones that we have broken a lot of barriers with. Search Acumen and Channel Ports are really innovative companies in their domain. Search Acumen is in the prop tech, and Channel Ports is in transportation. I'll talk very briefly about what we have done with them in the context of AI and how AI has revolutionized the way they work. And we have won a few awards for innovation and for the tools that we have developed internally to help our clients with their day-to-day businesses and how we can deliver value to their businesses and processes. So Channel Ports, as I mentioned, they operate in the transportation industry, and they deal with a lot of inquiries from their customers. And the solution that we have built for them is to receive those inquiries and interpret what the inquiries are and automatically process them or handed them over to their support team in a very well-structured format so that they can spend the least amount of time understanding what is needed and and the actions that they have to do. And the statistics that we extracted from their system, the last number that we had was that this system had 90% plus 90% accuracy and saved about 92 days of work in their team. So it saved a lot of man work from their team. And obviously that expanded their bandwidth to deal with other more creative parts of the business and deliver more with the same amount of people that they had in their organization. Search Acumen, they operate in the PropTech, and their use case is one of my favorites and was one of the most challenging use cases. So what we did for them was they receive a lot of reports from different local authorities in different formats, and some of them are extremely even painful to look at. But what we do is we receive those reports and extract information from those reports. And it sounds very straightforward, but it's very, very complicated because those reports can have different layouts and information can be presented in different ways that it's even confusing for human beings to understand what and how to extract information from the reports. And some of them are even a scanned version of very poor quality documents. So what we have done is we get those reports and process those reports, extract the questions and answers, and create the reports that they share with solicitors. So solicitors don't have to read the reports themselves. They just get the final output of the necessary information they need. And if they need to action any points on the report, it will be highlighted to them. And they also have access to the original reports. It's not just the final report that we create. The original documents are shared with them in a very user-friendly format. So wherever they go on the report, they can see the related section of the original document that the information was extracted from. And that has created an enormous amount of bandwidth for them. They receive a lot of documents from different local authorities, as I mentioned, and they are receiving really good feedback from their team because they don't have to deal with a lot of issues that they used to deal with. And also they are getting a lot of clients because of the value this system adds to those to their clients. Another use case is WordUp. WordUp is an education app that is used for anybody who wants to expand their vocabulary. The way AI changed this app was initially the founders, and Somaya is one of the founders, and she can add comments here as well. They wanted to essentially introduce English teachers to the app so that users could talk to English teachers to improve their language and vocabulary. And obviously that is a very tricky business model and it's not very scalable and it's quite expensive. But when OpenAI a few years ago, they released ChatGPT, immediately it was adopted in this application, and we created an AI teacher extremely personalized to each student based on their learning histories and the chats they had with the system and their interactions with the system. And it created a really good user experience for people, and it's extremely scalable and quite cheap as well relative to hiring actual people. I don't know if Soy, you want to add any comments here?
The only thing I always mention when we talk about this case study is that if English is your second language, or if you learn any second language, you know that what you know is quite different to what you're confident enough to use. And that gap between what you know, the words you know, and what you can actively use will only decrease as your confidence in using them grows. And confidence comes with, practice. So we wanted to create, with the help of AI, we were able to create that safer space that you're not under pressure of being judged by another human about the mistakes you make, and you're quite in a very safe space. You can make mistakes and have that conversation and practice. So we talk a lot about the bad impacts that AI could have because of whatever biases or whatever problems that we keep talking about. But also, I think it is worth to mention the very unique values that AI can create that you cannot create with humans in place. So this is one of those cases.
Cool, thank you so much. So the agenda for today, we're going to talk about AI agents, and then we are going to talk about intelligence a little bit, and finally we're going to talk about consciousness. In this agenda, what we are not going to talk about is AI safety, data privacy, and the fact that some people think that AI is going to replace humans. The reason we are not going to cover these is that these are broad topics, and we want to focus on what is possible, and then as part of the adoption of an AI solution, then we can get into these steps that can be the topic of another conversation. But I just mentioned that here so that it's clear that if I don't touch base on any of these, it doesn't mean that they're not important. It's just they're not in the scope of this presentation. So the evolution from chatbots to operators. How many people are familiar with operators? Let's start with that. You can put it, I don't know if you can raise your hand or say it in the chat. No one? How many people are familiar with AI agents? Nice. And what about assistants? Cool. Nice. And I hope that everybody at least familiar with chatbots. So chatbots are not new concepts. So essentially, when they started, they were smart systems that were based on some fixed workflows or triage implementation. So I'm sure you have used them in your bank account, like apps, and you have seen them before. They were helpful, but they were very limited. And as soon as you ask complicated questions, they would immediately refer you to an actual human. So they were helpful, but they were not very impressive. Then the likes of OpenAI, they released their very smart models, and they provided interfaces to talk to their AI models. So the early version of ChatGPT, which was GPT-3, I believe, was an implementation, a smart implementation of a chatbot that wasn't based on a fixed workflow. So it was more effective, but still not as smart as they are now. And then they evolved their models, and it got smarter and smarter. The limitation that they had was chatbots were based on the training data that they used to create those models. So I'm sure you might have heard that when ChatGPT was released, people struggled with how far behind its data and knowledge was. So you couldn't ask anything about, so as an example, if a technology was created last month, And if you ask ChatGPT or especially GPT-3 about it, it wouldn't know that technology. So it wasn't it was quite limited in terms of how much help it could provide. And it's still a challenge because these models are very expensive and it's very difficult to train them. So you cannot train them every day. It's not like Google that they refresh your index every couple of days. It takes a lot of effort and it's very, very expensive. I heard that OpenAI spends about, I believe, $50 million for training each model. So that they have this limitation that they are not very up to date. To solve that challenge, what they have created was they have introduced AI assistants that are, and these abstractions are on top of a simple AI model. So AI assistant is an AI, basically an AI chatbot that has some features, and an AI agent is an AI assistant that has some features on top of it, and operators are the same. So AI assistants are chatbots that essentially you can feed them some data and keep their knowledge very fresh. So if you have got, I don't know, onboarding documents or anything that, so for example, if you want to read a specific book, you can provide some PDF files or some text files to an AI, an assistant, and make that assistant specific to that content. And you can configure it in a way that it can even be restricted to the knowledge you share with it. So you have a lot of flexibility for creating an assistant compared to a chatbot, that you were given a chatbot that you couldn't do anything with it. So an assistant, you can create the persona of your AI model and then feed some information to it, and that becomes very personalized to your requirements. Now, think of assistants as a read-only implementation of an AI model. So assistants could just answer questions more effectively based on the information and the context you provide. But they couldn't do anything. So to resolve that, AI agents were created that they had the ability to interact with the external world by calling tools and functions. So for example, an AI agent, you can configure it to send or view a web page, go to a web page, or send a notification. So an AI agent can take actions and can connect with the external resource. And also you can even provide a function for an AI agent to ask you for certain things. So for example, in assistance, your data, you feed the data to your assistant, and even though it makes it more dynamic than a chatbot, it is still limited to how often you can refresh your training data or your the data that your AI agent, your AI model uses. Whereas agents, you can give them the ability to ask you for the information they need to process your request. And that is very helpful when they have to respond to a very complicated request that needs a lot of data from different resources. And then operators are essentially AI agents that have the power to even create more AI agents. So when an AI agent, when you create that, you create a static instance of an AI model. But operators, it's something that can manage the scope of a very, very complicated request, and depending on how that request has to be served, it can create even AI agents and assign them tasks and orchestrate the whole process. This is basically what we just talked about. As I said, an assistant can have access to external documents that are not part of their training data. So these are very useful. For example, if you have got policies or onboarding documents or anything specific to your business, and your employees can use your AI assistant to do their day-to-day jobs. And agents, so for example, you can create an agent that has access to your calendar, to your task system, whatever system you use, or Microsoft Teams, and then you can ask them about organizing meetings or reviewing your tasks or communicating with other people in your team. And as I said, operators are basically AI implementations that have superpower of creating more AI agents. And the benefit of that is they, in theory, they should be able to create the better version of themselves, because when they create a group of AI agents and they deliver a response, they do a task, especially when humans give them feedback, then what they can do is to update their internal state and even create a new and better version of themselves, so that they get smarter and smarter as they evolve. So a quick poll here for you guys based on what we discussed. Which one of these options that we've talked about do you use in your business? Going to share the results so you guys can see. Can you see the results?
I think they can see it when the poll ends, not while they're.
I don't have access to the poll, so I don't know.
I can end it, but they're still
Okay.
participating, so I'll do that. And while we are doing that, Matt, you might be wanting to be a bit mindful of the pace and the time, because we want to have maybe around 10 minutes to the end for questions.
Okay. A few people have said they haven't adopted AI yet. In the chat, would you mind sharing what's the biggest challenge?
We have an answer. We have some answers coming in, Matt. So compliance and security, employee engagement with adopting legacy old systems, and not needed yet, setting up business. A lot of IG considerations with healthcare, governance and security again. So that seems to be a big theme. Cost, old legacy systems, and security.
I mean, I've got two responses about AI agents. Could you, if you can, could you please share what's the use case that you're using AI agents for? That's very interesting.
You can also unmute because it's only a couple of people, so feel free to unmute and speak.
So ServiceNow, we have actually got AI agents specifically. That's what we use quite a lot to basically do some reports and basically answer any FAQs and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Would you like to end the chat, Sonia, or have you already done?
It's done. I think I have shared the results. I don't know if
Okay.
people could see it or not.
Okay. So
Yes, we could see it. Yeah, good.
cool. In this presentation, I've put this little star on a couple of the slides. If you wanted to take away some key points, I strongly recommend this slide with the stars. Those are the most important things for you guys to take away. Intelligence, everybody knows what intelligence is, but we have got explicit and implicit. And the power of AI is how do we create a balance between explicit and implicit. Explicit in simple terms is that you say what you want and you say how you want it. And in your day-to-day life, you experience that with maybe more junior team members. So they're not experienced enough to know how to deliver things. So you go to them and say what you want, and you specify how you want a specific task to be done. The limitation of that is if it makes people, and it's a normal behavior, that it makes people to think less because they trust the instructions. And that means that if you have missed something in your instructions, it's very likely that a step is going to cause a problem, because people are going to just rely on the instructions and follow it step by step and just trust that it covers everything. So they don't question the overall process. Implicit, on the other hand, is you say what you want and you don't specify how you want it. And that is an art to master when you work with more senior people, because they don't want to be told how to deliver something, especially with the fact that they want to use their experience and creativity, and that is a similar behavior that AI has. And it's very interesting to see the patterns that AI has with people. Obviously, AI was developed based on our brain, the human brain, and it shows similar behavior. So with AI, if you ask and provide step-by-step instructions, very annoyingly, it just follows those instructions. And I don't know if you have experienced it. In my case, it's sometimes extremely frustrating that you think that who said AI is smart, because what you have done is not smart, clearly. But the problem is that because I, for example, was very explicit in my instructions, it took away the creative side of the AI that is very, very valuable. When you want to use the implicit side of AI, we need to be extremely careful about defining guardrails, because we want to say what we want, but we don't want to say how we want it, but we need to be clear what is not okay for AI to do. And depending on how we design that, it can result in really good outcomes. And one of the most important thing is context. So it's related to explicit versus implicit. If you don't provide enough context, your AI won't be clear about what to deliver. And if you provide a lot of context, it's going to confuse AI, and in either case, it's not going to result in productive output. The best way, there's an optimum amount of information that you can give to AI. There's no exact point, but it's like a bell shape that you want to be kind of in the middle, and the closer you are to the optimum point, obviously you're going to get better results because you leave creativity and the freedom for AI to deliver what is acceptable. And for example, hallucination may not be an option for one use case, but for the other might be a very useful feature. And in my presentations, usually I put a random slide that has nothing to do with the content, and just to have a quick break in terms of your headspace. And for today, this is the quick break that we are going to have for, I want to test your knowledge about your own body, and I want to see who knows what's the longest cell in your body. And the reason I'm asking this question is that obviously I'm really interested in AI, and I'm doing my master's degree in neuroscience. And a couple of months ago, I found out what the answer to this question is, and I thought it's useful to share that with you. And don't use ChatGPT or any other AI models.
Too late, Matt. Too late.
We have some answers coming in.
A skin is not a cell. A skin is an organ. You've got a lot of cells in your skin. The answer is a neuron, but it's not neuron.
Daniel, you
Gotcha.
seems to know the answer. Come on.
So the answer is the sciatic nerve, which is around 1 meter. And I thought that is very appropriate for this presentation, because next time you get a backache, you're going to remember this presentation and you will think about AI agents. Cool. Now, let's talk about consciousness. So consciousness is a very broad topic, and there are a lot of definitions about what consciousness is. Some people interpret it as awareness or the sense of self-identity. When you say I, who is I? And if we clone you cell by cell, and there are two instances of you, who is you? Which one is you? Or some people say it's experience or cognition or many other definitions. But I could argue that nobody knows what consciousness is, because there are so many different definitions. So there is no agreement on what consciousness is. But in this context, in the context of this presentation, for us, consciousness is AI agents that are aware about their environment, their own responsibilities, and they can decide whether or not they have to action based on an input that they receive. So imagine, for example, in our organization, you've created an AI agent for your HR department, and all the responsibilities of the HR department have been defined for that AI agent, and anything that happens in the organization that is related to HR falls into the domain of this AI agent. But if something technical happens in the organization that is not relevant to this AI agent, so they can filter it out. So essentially, they receive input, they can understand what that input is, and whether or not they need to take action on that. So that's the definition that we have for consciousness. And as I mentioned, in an organization, you can create a lot of AI agents, the benefit of having AI as an implementation of the human brain is that there are pros and cons. Pros are we can understand how it works. The cons are we're going to have similar challenges that we have here with humans. So when AI started, by start I mean when OpenAI released ChatGPT and AI became very popular in the form that it exists today. Everybody thought that you can have a super agent that can do everything, but very quickly we realized that one AI instance cannot handle everything because of the vast amount of information that it has been trained on. And the challenge we have is that usually when we interact with AI, we carry a lot of context in our head that we don't communicate with AI. And I had a very interesting conversation with one of my friends that she was saying that she wanted AI to write a paper about something just to see how it does. And she asked ChatGPT to write a paper, but that paper wasn't good enough for her. But what she was missing was that in her head, she had read a few other papers a few days before. She talked to her friends about that topic, and she had so much information about that topic in her consciousness that she didn't communicate with ChatGPT. Our expectations are based on whatever we have in our consciousness and whatever we have in our context but what we communicate with AI is not necessarily what we expect, what we have in our head based on our previous experiences. And because of that, we soon realized that to be able to get the best out of AI, we need to create domain-specific AI models. So we create an AI that can do everything, but then we make them focused on specific domains or tasks. And that's why an organization, for effectively having an AI infrastructure, we need to have different AIs doing different things. And to, again, benefit from the implicit intelligence that AI provides, we need to give them freedom in the organization. Each organization there's a lot of data going back and forth in an organization that we capture. So a lot of organizations have systems that are integrated. You send requests to your system, you interact with them, you create outputs or reports or whatever the case is. And we want to expose that to our AI team. And the reason for that is, as humans, we cannot process everything and we miss everything. Not everything. We might miss a lot of insights that are hidden in our day-to-day interactions in a business. Even when our teams collaborate with each other, they produce a lot of context and data that can be used. So consciousness in the context of an organization is that we have got an AI team that is exposed to everything that is happening to an organization. And don't get nervous. And that's why I said what we are not going to cover in this presentation is AI security or safety or privacy. So imagine for a second that we could trust AI fully and we could expose everything to our AI agents, and we want them to have the power of analyzing the inputs and just filtering whatever that is not relevant to them, and then utilizing whatever that is, and create actions and insights for our organization. And the organizations of the future will look like this, that we have got humans that have AI agents or AI operators personalized for them in the context of the organization. And a lot of people are scared of AI taking over our jobs. I don't think that is going to happen easily because of two reasons. One, AI needs a lot of context to be able to replace us. they don't see what we see, they don't hear what we hear. Even smart glasses, you can argue that they can see and hear what we hear and see, but they won't be able to taste what we taste, or the feeling of touch, they won't be able to get the information. So they're limited in terms of what they can be exposed to or what can be available for them. So it's really hard to replace humans with AI. And also, humans need job to make money to pay the big companies that are going to use AI to replace humans. Without them, an AI agent is not going to go to a shop and or order something from Amazon. It's just humans that have to do that. So for that reason, I think the future of organizations are going to be people that have been empowered by AI, and they help AI to do the job. So on that note, we are going to introduce a 90-day challenge. In the poll, we saw a lot of people that said they haven't adopted AI or they have adopted the chatbot, which is the basic version of the AI. So here we want to challenge you to implement or adopt AI, find a use case or define a use case in your organization and try to adopt AI and benefit from the productivity that it can offer. As you can see, this slide is another one that has a star. For finding an AI use case for your organization, you need to realize that AI is not always the solution. AI is very flexible, but that flexibility might work against you. To make it very structured, if you think about a problem or an opportunity, think about if that opportunity is repetitive, or that problem or task, whatever that the case is that something that is repetitive? Do you do it multiple times a day, multiple times a week? If it is not repetitive, it's better to leave that to humans. AI solutions are usually okay to be implemented, but in some cases it's not as easy as a lot of people think. So now, if your task or opportunity, whatever that is, if it is repetitive, then think about if doing that task requires creativity or not. If it doesn't require creativity, it's better to rely on automation, a simple solution to deliver that, because with automation, you get consistency, and consistency in a lot of contexts is very important. And if it needs creativity, then you can think about AI to help you with that. So in summary, think about the triangle of humans, automation, and AI. Humans give you, AI gives you creativity, automation gives you consistency, and humans give you reliability and trust. So any solution can be a combination of these three basically aspects. And what we do usually with our clients when they want to find an AI opportunity is that we talk to them. If they have got a specific use case, we sit down and see how we basically go through that process in a more detailed and advanced way. But if they don't have a specific opportunity and they want to discover an opportunity or a challenge, then we have an internal technology called and service called digital diagnostics that we use Diligence for. Diligence is a technology that we have created to identify AI opportunities for businesses. So if you're interested and if you want to see how it's done, the link is there, or you can scan the QR code. The next step for your AI journey or use case is to define the scope. A scope can be as small as a task, or it can be a process. So for example, a task would be to classify emails and send them to different inboxes for that are monitored by different people. Or you might want to do a whole process in a department, or you might want to use AI for a specific role, or even go further and see how you can utilize AI for a department in an organization, and you can just grow that and make it organization or even bigger. And each scope then has a state. And this diagram shows you the evolution of AI integration in our world and in a business. Initially, everything was done with humans, and then software development came along, and automation and the combination of automation and humans started doing the tasks. And then AI was introduced. So the combination of AI, humans, and automation in that order, in automation, humans, and AI in that order. And the next step is AI, automation, and humans. And if you remember, I talked about the 3 triangles, and then fully AI, or AI plus automation. And each scope is in one of these steps. An organization, if in your organization the scope is fully manual, then you're at step 1. And if it's more advanced, and if you've got a system or you have integrated AI, it goes further down to right. And it's very important to understand where that scope can be. In some scenarios, so think about a business that relies on human interaction. So human interaction is an important selling point for that business. So clients they value that. So they don't want to, they want to keep that basically human touch in their business. So for that scope, fully AI automation is not going to be where that organization can be. They don't want, they consciously decide not to go there. But in another context, so for example, software testing, it would be extremely nice to make it fully AI, to automate it using AI completely. So it's very important to know where you are and where you can be, and then we can create a roadmap of how to get to where you want to be from where you are. And this is another one of those important slides that I've put here. Software development is probably on the 4th column, that a lot of things can be done with AI, but you cannot fully replace developers with AI, because again, the context is very important. And if something happens, AI is not still very consistent in creating output. So you need human interaction to enable AI. So when ChatGPT started, it was developers doing the work and asking AI, how do I, for example, implement this or implement that? Now they ask AI to do the task, and just do a little bit of refinement to create the final output.
Matt, can I interrupt? Can you finish on this slide? And we leave 5 minutes for, there are a couple of questions and comments that
Yes,
I want to get you.
I think we're almost done anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So this is pretty much the last slide. So this shows you an overall view of your, for example, 90-day challenge. Once you know what you want to do, there are 3 different stages: design, implementation, and adoption and engagement. As you can see, the first 2 lines are gradients, which means when you start, you heavily rely on, or you do a lot of design during the first few days. because you want to create something that is usable, because it's really difficult to come up with a very effective solution, because the problem is that if you give a solution to someone, if it's not effective, they're immediately going to dismiss that, and you don't want to invest a lot of money on an AI solution that is not used in your organization. So there should be a lot of back and forth. And as you can see, the last line, adoption and engagement, is not gradient. And the reason for that is you need to communicate with your team and whoever that is going to be involved with the solution in the development and the implementation and the design and implementation, because you constantly want to talk about what their challenges are and get feedback about their the solution that you have designed. And then you get into, once you're confident with your design, relatively speaking, you start the implementation, you create an alpha release, and it's very important to just release that to a few people and get feedback, because it doesn't matter how hard you try, it's very likely that the first solution is not going to be anywhere near the perfect solution, because we need to design a solution that works for the people that they are going to use the system. And that is a fact in software development. And yeah, so
Thank you.
over to
Thank,
you, sorry.
thank you, Matt. Lindsay, do you mind? I know you captured the first question. Do you
I
mind?
did. I have all three that three we've received so far in order. So we'll go with those three for time. And also I should say, if there's any we haven't got to, if you put them in the chat, we'll make sure we follow up with you directly with the answers. First question, when validating the quality of an AI agent, how did you measure the accuracy of the output where the accuracy was insufficient? This came about, Matt, just when you're talking about search acumen and Ray in that example. Did you do any actions to train the model specifically in handling those edge cases?
Yes, so the very first version of that system, we did something silly. That was, we had an AI agent that did the task, and then we, as a part of the output that it created, we asked it to score the confidence for the output, which was not very smart, because AI gives you an answer when they are confident about the outcome. They're not going to give you an answer and say, oh, I'm 1% sure about the quality of this answer. It's not how AI works. So what we did was we created a different AI agent to quality check the output of the worker agent, if you like. And there's a concept called the ground truth, which is basically a set of data that you have that you know it's accurate and it's labeled and formatted correctly. So you once you release your system, you want to test that, give that input to your system, and use different techniques to see how similar the outputs are to your ground truth. There are different techniques. So, for example, cosine, similarity, or similar techniques. You can create the output from using your AI agents, and then compare them with your ground truth. And the other thing is that our AI solutions always have human interaction, and we use the data that humans generate when they interact with the solution. So if they reject or amend the output created by AI, or if they approve it, then we will use that record to train our AI system. So based on, it's kind of like how reinforcement learning works. So if they approve the outcome, then we can put that aside as an example of our training data that we can make our models smarter. Or if they reject it, they need to provide the reason why it was rejected, so we can use that again to train our AI models.
I know we're nearing out of time. We have two more questions, so I might just ask Matt to be short and sharp with these answers. But one is, I'll start with the last one actually, because I think it's quick, which is, do you create your own AI agents for your development team to build software? So I know that's a quick one that you can give a pretty
Yes.
binary answer, Matt. So, yeah, yes.
Yes.
Lots of examples of that. And if you're interested to learn more, reach out. And then the last but not least, do you know any examples of using AI to analyze warning signs of failures in operational systems?
Like warning signs of failure. I cannot give an example.
It's used, I know, a lot in like energy spaces or things like that, like predictive analytics of maintenance.
Yeah.
Kind of
Now you said,
scenarios.
yeah,
I don't
think
know if there's different contexts for humans to answer this question.
I just remembered one of the use cases that we had was there was a company that operated in like trains and their tracks, and they monitored and analyzed it was used for maintenance to analyze the movement of the train over a distance, and if the movement was not in the threshold that they defined, that would highlight a potential fault on the track. So they would, instead of waiting for the track to break and then cause disruption, they would just go proactively and fix the or investigate that part. If that answers your question.
Great. I don't think there's any more that we've received in the chat, so I don't know if there's any parting words, Samaya or others that you'd like to have before we end today.
Yes, thank you so much, Matt, for your
problem.
time, and Lindsay, you as well. And thank you everybody for your participations and all. I just put in the chat if there is anybody who wants to share, do the same thing, share case studies, share knowledge and best practice with the rest of the IT Leaders Forum members. I put my email there. Please reach out to me and I'll take it to the exec group to do the same. We would like to do the same kind of like experience share, knowledge share, that kind of practice. Also, if there is any feedback on the session, or you want more of these or less of these, or you want anything ITLF to do more, also email me and I would be more than happy. We have our next exec meeting next week. So it's very timely. If you reach out to me before then, I can take it to the exec and take the feedback there. Otherwise, have a lovely rest of your day and happy AI agenting. Okay.
Thank you very much. Cheers, everyone. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.